Carding and card testing is a big problem, and if you're running a business, please listen to this video and pass it along to your friends so you can be part of preventing this elaborate scam from happening. This video is going to shed light on what carding and card testing is, how it ends up happening, what to look for, and things you can do as a business owner to keep it from happening. So card testing is the process whereby scammers use stolen credit or debit card information to make unauthorized purchases or transaction attempts on an otherwise legitimate e-commerce website or payment page. The scammers steal or somehow obtain tens and hundreds or probably millions of credit cards that they run through bot-enabled software that attacks payment pages or e-commerce websites by trying to make authorization charges or actual credit card purchases with the stolen cards. All of this in an attempt to validate the cards so that they can sell the lists or do whatever criminals do with stolen credit card data. And all of these authorization attempts happen in a relatively short period of time, like within a day or two, depending on the severity of the attack. And we're talking about potentially tens of thousands of transaction attempts at one time. So if you're running a business, you could wake up one day and if you're a victim of a card testing attack, you'd log into your merchant account and find a crazy number of transactions processed on your merchant account. And obviously that would be a huge problem because that'd just cost you a ton of money and time and a general headache because you just got charged a bunch of transaction fees for all of those fake transactions and authorization charges that you now get to figure out how to fix. More on that in a minute, but first, let's look at how carding attacks even work. Typically, it involves a few conceptually simple steps. Number one is the procurement of the card information. In short, this is the list. Scammers gather card numbers and other details of the card like the CVC code and the billing zip codes and everything that they're going to use to process a transaction. Methods of obtaining these card numbers are often from large-scale data breaches, and of course, this is all 100% illegal. Number two is once the list is complete, it's loaded into a bot attack software of some sort where the software proceeds to start the card validation process and the carding attack. Number three is that the first phase of setup is often the low volume multiple purchase attempts with a single credit card number and perhaps a rotating expiration date. These transactions will be small dollar amounts like $1 to $5, and this is the testing phase that validates the payment page to be an actual page. So if you ever see small and strange transaction amounts that don't coincide with a product or service that you sell, like again for $1 or $1.35 or $1.67, take it as a sign that your payment page might become the target of a larger card testing attack in the future. Once the payment page or website has been identified and the card numbers are loaded into the bot software, the real attack begins. And that's the final step. The bot software then bombards the payment page with thousands of purchase and authorization attempts simultaneously, just one right after the other, over and over and over again, as quickly as they can get authorizations. So they can try to get as many transactions completed as possible before someone notices. Just like the page validation phase in the previous step, these are small, usually small dollar amounts that amount to $1 to $5 per attempted charge. But this time it's at a really large scale. Again, thousands of transactions at a time in attempt to get an approval code, thus confirming that the scammers have a valid credit card. So effectively, this process, they are cleaning their list of stolen credit cards and saving the cards that validate to be real and discarding the bad or expired numbers. So what's the aftermath of an attack look like? How does the business suffer? So it can be obviously quite devastating because as the business, you're immediately faced with, number one, excessive credit card processing fees, transaction fees, and percentage rates associated with the fraudulent bot transactions performed with the stolen but real credit cards. If you were hit with 10,000 transactions in a carding attack, that means actual transaction fees, which on average are about 20 cents between the merchant merchant account fee and the payment gateway fee, that means that you just got a bill for $2,000 in fees. Again, that's just in fees, and that's just the start of it. Next up is the potential chargeback fees that come as the inevitable result of cardholders realizing that someone stole their credit card number and just tried to make a purchase at some business that they've never heard of. And the reality is that at least a small percentage of cardholders out of a sample size of 10,000 in our case check their credit card statement balances on their phone in real time with instant push of a button chargeback capabilities. And when a cardholder doesn't recognize the $5 charge to your business, the result to you is a chargeback claim. And chargebacks typically cost $25 per occurrence. So let's just say 1% of those chargebacks come through on the sample size that we're going with. 100 people at a chargeback rate of $25 per occurrence. That's another $2,500 for a grand total, conservatively so far, of $4,500 for this little fraud incident and what it costs your business. Number 3 is reputational damage to your business because you have potentially hundreds of cardholders that are upset with you because they think it was you that processed that transaction and won't bother checking into it any further than that, and they'll just file the chargeback and move on. And if all of that wasn't enough, number 4 is that your merchant account potentially just got frozen and you won't be able to accept any more legitimate sales because you just have a pending fraud case underway, and all of this because of that carding attack. So you're incapacitated until further notice. Your account could get shut down permanently because, as you may know, you might exceed that 1% chargeback ratio threshold that most merchant account providers require that you stay below. Yeah, it's quite a bit to deal with. And all of this happens, and now you're faced with spending valuable time and money to get the situation handled that was most definitely a fire that you were not expecting to have to put out on a random Tuesday afternoon or whenever you found out that this all happened. Again, all of this happens so fast and it's often not caught, as I've illustrated, and it goes unnoticed until the attack is completely over and the scammers have moved on to another target. It's like a tornado ripping through the finances of your business and you get to clean it up. So at this point, if you followed me through that terrible situation of a carding attack, the question that you're probably asking is, what can I do to defend my business from fraud and card testing attacks like this? Prevention techniques include using fraud tools, setting up a VPN, using a firewall, setting limits on your payment pages, and checking your transaction history for suspicious activity, and even installing monitoring tools that do all of the security checking for you. Carding attacks can be difficult to catch if you don't have protection in place. Remember that this is, unfortunately, a very prevalent issue and it's a crime, and people are literally searching right now for websites and payment pages that have vulnerabilities so they can carry out these attacks again. And doing nothing leaves your payment pages vulnerable and susceptible to attacks. Part 2 of this video series will expand on prevention techniques, so you can click the video in the description or it's linked up at the end of this video to learn the checklist of ways that you can enhance the security of your online payment pages and e-commerce websites, not only for yourself and your business, but for the cardholders in the greater good of preventing these scams from happening. If you've learned something new or found this video valuable, like I said, please consider giving this video a thumbs up and sharing it with a friend or colleague. That really helps this video get found. Carding and card testing is a major issue. Getting the word out helps everyone involved. There's a chargeback and other fraud-related videos playlist in the description, and all relevant and cited info linked in the description area of this video, as always, like I do with all of my videos. So be sure to check the links to continue your research on this topic. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos on the topics of payment processing, integrated payments, point-of-sale equipment, security, and fraud, all related to electronic payments. I'm Brian Manning, and again, click the screen for the next video in this series, and I will see you on the next video.